What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Clockwork Conversations, our new channel about watches and entrepreneurship. I am Manny, and this is Wallace, my partner in crime over here.
Yes, Wallace in the flesh.
How's it going? We're all new to this right now. This is our first time here doing a video podcast and introducing ourselves and our company. And yeah, so why are we here?
Yeah, we're here to talk about watches and business, the two things we're passionate about, right?
Yeah.
So this platform is for people like us who are into watches, but also into business. And this is giving you, I guess, the documentary process on us building this brand from the ground up. So we'll be discussing a lot of things that you might never know or probably have some idea or have questions how the watch industry works, the back ends, manufacturing, and also business, right? Because we're figuring this out as we go, right?
No, absolutely. I think it was a few years ago, Wallace started working. He's a creative designer, and he started working on watches. I myself am a watch collector. I've always enjoyed watches, and but at the time, I was really my passion was in media.
Yep.
And so me and Wallace just sort of came together with our passion for watches, his creativity, my creativity in media, and roll a few years later forward. Fast forward a few years later, I'm sorry. And here we are, and what happens is Wallace went on this journey to China, like most micro brands do. Well, honestly, most micro brands don't honestly go to China. They just do it over the phone or over the internet. And I think Wallace was so passionate about it. He went to China to meet the manufacturers. And I told him, like, does this really work? Like, can you really go and make a great watch? And his journey led him to discover just a lot about this world of micro brands, watchmaking, and it really pulled me in. He pulled me in with him, and so he started a Kickstarter years ago. I don't know if he wants to really talk about the name or the brand or whatever, but it did well. And it was exciting to see how many people were behind him on
shockingly.
Shockingly, right. Were behind him. He looks back now and he's like, man, I can't believe that watch sold. But but I actually love that watch. I actually have it at home. I won't say what the piece is, but it was a good piece, and it made me. It really helped me to see like the possibilities that of creativity. Like if you're a creative person, the possibilities are endless with the power of manufacturing in China and the creative people in China as well. I want to highlight them because I think so many micro brands do injustice to the world of Chinese creativity and manufacturing, because they are a part of this journey for all of us, and even for the big boys. I mean, a lot of big boys don't really admit how many of their parts they actually source from China.
Yep.
They sort of just want you to believe it's all 100% Swiss made, which isn't the case. But so that brought us here. That brought us here into this room, starting Clockwork Conversations, our media podcast.
Yep.
But it's also a journey that you're taking with us. We wanted to go about this different. So years ago, Wallace, I remember how much money and time he spent to launch this.
Hey, you remember my first watch? I had my first watch design. It was a wood watch, remember?
Oh, yes, the wood watch.
Yeah, it was the first wood watch that
which Tissot did, I think, first years ago in the 80s or something.
I did a first wood watch. It's a way of just, it was, at the time, it was more cheaper than it stainless steel because I didn't have the money to start,
right?
A mold cost and all that different stuff. With wood watch, surprisingly, you have to use mold.
Oh, wow.
So I spent, I think it was like $200 or something like that to create a wood watch. And I showed Manny the design, and Manny was like, yeah, okay. It was okay. It's a wood.
Yeah. I've never seen that before. I mean, I know more about the history of it now, and I appreciate it a little bit more now, but certainly at the time, I wasn't that deep into watch collecting as I am now. And I just...
He was a wood watch.
What is this? And Wallace was sold on it. He's like, yeah, this is the next thing.
It was an interesting journey, but I've learned a lot. I learned a lot. Starting our first watch, it was Pure Galvanti. No, I'm sorry. It was Romer.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. It was Romer. We started the brand. I think it's 2000s. Show started the brand, launched it on Kickstarter, and we'll talk more in details as the podcast goes along. And it did well. We did very well. What I've learned from that after that, we put in for the trademark, and then we got contested with the trademark, and it was a whole issue back and forth. And at that time I was going through some personal things. Was going through a divorce at the time, and also with this lawsuit, and it was just a tough time. So basically, after me and this brand reconcile our issues, and we figured out like the best ways, let's just walk away from this. And I didn't have enough money to change all the dials that had the old name on it, Romer. So that was the end of that. And then I stopped for a while. Then I just went back to studying manufacturing, studying watch brands, and I felt I was off and on again. Then Manny kind of like pushed me on and say, "Hey, like, what's going on? Like, are you gonna continue to do this? Are you gonna go after this again?" And so brought us here.
Yeah, brought us here, Haitian and a Puerto Rican in the watch world.
From the Bahamas.
From the Bahamas. Well, me, native New Yorker, but...
was born and raised in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Beautiful island. Yeah.
And, so Wallace went on this journey, and I was there for the ride. And I think this time Wallace came to me, and the approach was like completely different. It's like, instead of spending all this money on marketing and trying to be savvy marketers and look for savvy marketers and all that, we said, hey, why don't we just bring it to the people, show you what this world is like. Because something we realized real quickly is that there are tons of micro brands out there. I remember we went to Chelsea Market here in New York City, and there was just like this big micro brand watch show.
Watch and Wine that we went through.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, there's so many people who are into this, so many creative people that the watch world brings to it. And I said, well, how can we separate ourselves from those people? And it was like almost instantaneously. Wallace is like, let's just tell the story. Because, and I think what happened was we started to see the same reoccurring nonsense brought into like the micro brand world, which is like the promises of a cheap watch, but luxury end watch, cutting out the middleman, all the marketing schemes, all the marketing stuff. And I said, well, and then what really I told Wallace, and we don't line up the same on everything, just so you guys know. Sometimes we argue back and forth about certain things, but
and that's good.
That's great. Like that's fantastic. But I told Wallace, why do people try to discount China? Like he went there for himself, and he met the people there, the master watchmakers, the manufacturers, the talent they have there. And I feel like, Chinese people and Chinese manufacturing get such a bad rap, but at the same time, they're like, we wouldn't have the watch world or the cell phone world or any world for that matter, any community for that matter, without them. And the truth is, you can get really bad manufacturing in China.
Yeah, you can.
With some really bad labor practices. But in the case of us, in the case of what we're creating here, we made sure to go there and see it for ourselves and make sure we're dealing with the right people.
Yeah.
But we also appreciate them. And so it was like our desire to like, hey, let's bring this to you guys to let you know that there's nothing wrong with doing business in China. There's nothing wrong with making them a part of your micro brand or your team, right? Like, we're not just going to say, hey, we're American or Bohemian or did I say that right, by the way? Bohemian?
No, it's Bahamian.
Bahamian. Thank you. I think I was talking about Bohemian Rhapsody, but I
appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna get killed for that by the people in Bahamas if they're watching this. But it was like, hey, let's not make this a watch brand that's just like, hey, we're Swiss watch brand, you know, we're Swiss design, or, you know, those kind of keywords, French design, you know. It's like, no, we're a micro brand, you know, and we work with those great craft makers in China, and we take our designs and our ideas and we get together with them, whether it's over media or if we have the time, we'll take that flight out there and sit there at their table and discuss this together. And it was like, hey, and you know what? Let's not only talk about that, but let's bring you guys, again, I'm reiterating this. Let's bring you guys into this world journey with us, in this journey with us, so you can see it for yourself. So we want to bring appreciation to micro brands, right? This is not putting other micro brands down at all. Matter of fact, Clockwork Conversations is specifically about highlighting micro brands. So you won't hear us talking that much about Rolexes or Richard Milles, although they will be mentioned, you know, because this is still a watch channel. But we want to take those micro brands like Baltic and just name them off, man. They're just doing great work.
Yeah, there's many out there. I think we're gonna just talk to them in different stages. But just to highlight just some of the things that Manny's saying, that we're definitely gonna talk about these topics. And I know this is the first episode, and we really want to bring a lot to this channel, right? And I guess for me, and I know a lot of people might ask this question: how do we get into watches, right? Remember your first watch? I think my first watch, believe it or not, was from my dad, right? And this was not just, you know, my dad went to the store and purchased a watch. Actually, my dad found this watch, right?
Right.
He found this watch and he gave it to me. It was a funny looking shape. At the time, it was a quartz movement, you know, no name on it. And I felt like the man at that time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Wearing this watch in school, you know, felt like I was living the dream. I had $1 million timepiece in my hand. But I think that kind of got me into appreciation of watches, right? Yeah. Living in the Bahamas, not a lot of people talk about watches, you know, when I was growing up. A lot of people talk about marbles. They collect a lot of marbles. I don't know if you've ever heard
marbles.
Of
them. Marbles. Yeah.
Tops, like all those different things. I was just into watches at that time, you know? And so when I started my journey into watches, I think after losing that piece, my first watch I purchased was, I'm not ashamed to say this, a Guess watch.
A Guess watch?
Yeah, it was my first piece. Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with a Guess watch, right? That's the only piece I could afford at that time, right? It's a Guess watch, you know? And then I had a lot of Guess. I was I had a really great collection of Guess watches, believe it or not. Then I purchased a Movado.
Oh, okay.
Then I purchased a Movado. Okay. And then, you know, our house got broken into, and then all our collection was, who steals Guess and Movados? That's what I'm thinking.
I guess that validates you, though, right? Hey, he stole it. It must be worth something, right?
Yeah, to him, right? Yeah, he stole, you know. And then, you know, so then I purchased I forgot what other piece I purchased. It was at that time, I think I purchased another Movado. I had it for a bit. And then I moved to the States, New York. Yeah. And then I think being here for about a year or so, I was on a fiance visa. Yeah. I was a fiance visa, couldn't work for a year, trying to figure my life out, being married. And I started doodling with designs, watches. And that's how I started with designing my first piece of watches. I think I don't have like one of those stories that people like, oh, you know, it's just something that I felt like I was drawn to. Yeah. And then that just went down and down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, with me, I'm gonna give away my age a little bit here, but I'm a Gen Xer. So I grew up in the 80s, and watches were like a part of your life. What I mean is this: one of my favorite anime cartoons back in the 80s was called Bionic 6. I don't know if anybody's going to remember me.
Nope,
Bionic 6. This is old, and I mean it's one of those cartoons that it's never been remade. I don't know why, but it was like one of the best. So the thing is, that it was like a regular family who had bionic powers, but the way that they would engage those powers is they had a watch and they had like this ring, and together they hit the watch with the ring, and they had these superpowers. And so the same thing, if you look at, now some of you might actually relate to this one more, the Power Rangers, right? So they had watches that they were like actually talking to. Yeah. So, you know, they would talk to Zordon or whoever it was, or to each other. And then there was Knight Rider, who he also had a watch he could talk into. So being around, growing up in the 80s, you grew around that era of watches. Of course, the Casio, you know, which in the watch circle, you know, is known as the God tier watch. So I was, you know, I had Casios when I was younger. My father had watches, and I think my father is also inspiration here because he was into like high-end jewelry, like high-end watches and stuff. And even though we weren't rich, like he loved those things. So his watch that I hold on to now, he had a watch, but it was stolen back in the day, and I don't want to say what it was because I can't exactly remember if it was Rolex or not, but could be, I don't know. But it's dear to me though. It's a Citizen's watch. And it's an Echo Drive Citizen's watch. It's the only one that he had left in his collection before he passed away, and I have that with me now. And the first watch I actually bought was a Fossil watch.
Yeah.
Fossil brand.
Shout out to Fossil.
Yeah, shout out to Fossil. I don't care what anyone says. I actually had this. I you know what? I could just be making this up right now. Maybe you guys know, but there was this Fossil automatic movement I bought. I gave it to my wife's uncle as a birthday gift because it's one of my most beloved watches, but she really loved him and he's a great guy. He treated me great. Yeah. And so I gave it to him. But every time I remember that watch, it's like, I could swear that thing, it had like this opening window in the front where you could see the movement actually move from the front, but it looked like a tourbillon. And I'm thinking, there's no way Fossil actually created a tourbillon because that would be really expensive, and I couldn't afford that back then because I think I spent $300 on that watch.
Yeah, it couldn't be a tourbillon.
It couldn't be a tourbillon, but it looked like one. Yeah. And I'm curious. I'm like, I wonder what they really made that out of, you know, because I wasn't really, I like watches. I like the look of watches, but I didn't really understand the movements and stuff at that time. And then the first Swiss watch I ever bought, which I still have in my collection, is a field watch. It's a Swatch. I'm sorry. Swiss Army, actually. Swiss Army. Yeah, field watch. And it's a quartz movement. And I've been trying to change the battery on that movement, by the way. And I'm having a hard time. So I'm going to have to find some place. But it's actually one of my favorite watches, a 36. It could be smaller than a 30. No, I think it's a 36 because I have a pretty big wrist. I think it's a 36 millimeter diameter. And I love that watch. I don't know why. And it gets so many compliments. It's just a field watch. You know, it almost looks like a Hamilton, but it's not. And that sort of just launched my journey. And then I started getting more into when me and Wallace started really talking about watches. I think it started me on this journey about let me get to know this world more because it's like he's talking about movements and this is like, again, early 2000s. He's talking about movements and materials and things of that nature. And so that's what now has brought us to this world. This is what started my more high end collection. Like today, I'm wearing a Longines Avigation Big Eye, which he's
double wristing today with the
with the eye watch on this side. This is to keep up with calories, and this one is to keep up with looking good.
I'm wearing a prototype of one of my older designs. Is from my older brand. I think this is the Prio Gavanti design that I'm wearing is a prototype. I think this is a SW200 movement.
Oh wow.
Solido movement.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I don't wear Apple watches. I just don't. I can't stand them. There's people who love Apple watches, and I think that's great. Yeah. And Manny's one of them. Me, not so much.
Yeah. No, I have nothing. I have nothing against Apple Watch, man. I have nothing. I think it's been great. I actually this is the Ultra, the first one, and I actually went swimming with it to test it out at the beach, and it's still working. I thought the salt water was going to destroy it. You know, I don't really believe Apple when they advertise a lot of their stuff, but believe it or not, it's still working.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive. I mean, but again, it's for health reasons that I run with this. I track my everything with it. So, but no, this is why I wear two watches, because I couldn't just live my life with this watch, and it is annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I agree with you on that. So let's just open up this question, right? Do you think it's easier today to start a watch brand?
No. Yeah, it's easy to start. Yes. But my mind automatically goes to, can you sell it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Is it easy to start? Sure. I mean, from what we've learned,
yeah,
it doesn't really take much. There's people out there who are willing to take your money to sell you a watch, or you could just do, what some people do, which is go to Alibaba, slap your brand onto a watch, and just sell it. And if anything, there's two worlds in watches. There's the marketing side of it, which we've seen some companies make terrible watches, but their marketing was so phenomenal that people just went and bought one. And then there's the creative side, the ones that care about the movements, the jewels, the micro rotors or your skeleton rotors, and the look, and the durability. So yes, it's easy. It's easy to start, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think in that aspect, it's always easy to start. But if you're taking this real serious, if you're serious about this world, it's more difficult. If you want to be taken serious, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's easy to start a watch brand. Like Manny mentioned, Alibaba, you could go in there and type in watch manufacturer, and tons of them will pop up. And I think, and as you can see, Kickstarter, every time you turn around, there's another watch brand coming out, because they feel like, oh, I see this person made $100,000 or $30,000, $40,000, whatever the number might be, and I feel like I can do it, right? And then you see these manufacturer making, I think, accessible right now for people to start a watch brand, right? Because you can go on Alibaba. This is not something like, I think it's easy to find these things, right? You go on Alibaba, you type in watch manufacturer, you find a watch manufacturer, and the first thing they would ask you is, are you looking, what's your MOQ? MOQ basically is the amount of mass order of quantity that you're going to purchase. Right. And sometimes these manufacturers have a catalog. They have a catalog where you can actually pick a design. You don't have to pay the mold cost, and you slap your name on the dial, and within 2 to 3 weeks, you got a watch, and you could put on Kickstarter. Right. And if you're coming with the original design, then you would have to pay a mold cost, and this mold cost runs in thousands of dollars. Right. Depending on the design, depending on the kind of material you're using, and MOQs, all that plays a factor. So when people ask me the question, hey, Wallace, is it easy to start a watch brand? I said, yes. Yeah. Depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to create a brand, right? Some people might go about like, hey, Wallace, I only have this amount of budget. I'm just going to use the manufacturer design and slap my name on it and put it out there. Right. Or I'm going to start original. And then I was like, hey, it's thousands of dollars that you have to put into this. So a lot of people would go away from the mold cost and just start there, I would say using the catalogs from the manufacturer. Right. And I think Manny brought an important part, and this is for some of the consumers who don't know about watches, right? There's certain materials that I think are better than others.
Yeah.
And we could go in details with that, but I've seen a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. Some use 316 steel, some use carbon fiber, some use different materials. And I think when you're purchasing a watch, the most important thing, like you're buying a car, is that you can focus on the interior, but what's in the hood is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Like Mayota, we can have conversation how great that movement is, and a lot of people don't give it much credit.
Yeah.
You have Seiko that's creating amazing movements. Then you have tier pieces like Salida, Etta. These are Swiss movements, and these are different things, different movements that we've used and played within our prototypes, and we use, and some are affordable to get. When I mean affordable, for us to produce, and some of them are harder to get. Like the MOQs are crazy high for some of the Swiss movements, and the thing is that we try to buy direct
Right.
from the manufacturer. So we try not to use middleman. I say that respectfully, meaning in a sense of sometimes when you find a person like, oh, I have 100 SW2 movements that you can purchase, and then they've been sitting in that person's basement for months.
Yeah.
And that's an issue for us. So we prefer to go directly to Salida and purchase our movements, because we know that, hey, these things are assembled, they're checked. You know, it's easier for us to track anything that goes wrong. We could call the manufacturer directly and figure out any solutions. But going back to that question, yes, it's easy to start a watch brand. Right. But this podcast, like we said before, is giving you the ins and outs of some of the things, mistakes we've made, some of the things we're learning, and we're sharing that with you.
Right.
This is a learning journey for both of us.
Yeah.
So we might not have answers to all the questions you might ask, or some of the things that we're still learning as we go. So yeah, I mean, we're super excited about this. I'm super excited because I'm from the Bahamas, and this is the first time we've actually, not the first time, but this is the first watch brand that we're actually launching in the Bahamas. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to talk a lot about the project, the name, Eluxé Noir. That's the name. The project that we're currently working on right now, the Genesis 1, the movement that we choose in Mayota. And we're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about the process of us building it. Some of the things that we've been learning right now, some of the things that we're going through right now from the whole manufacturing process. That we had some delays because of certain things. I'm a stickler for when it comes to production.
Yeah, absolutely.
Production. And some of the things that we had to, because COVID cost.
Oh man,
COVID caused a big delay.
Yeah, big delay. This is why we're doing this now, actually.
COVID's caused a big delay, and a lot of things that we had to do is we had to do everything through video, basically. So yeah.
Traveling had stopped to China, and video became very big in dealing with everything. So you don't really get to touch the materials and see it up close. They have to ship it to you just for you to see it, and ship it back, and that's definitely a cost. I can't wait to get into talking more about the movement too. The reason we chose a Mayota, because we were actually, like he said, the watch he's wearing is one of the designs that we talked about that he worked on, and it has a Swiss movement in it, and why we didn't choose to go with Salida in this case, and how excited we are about the Mayota movement, because we got to do some stuff. You guys are going to see the movement is very unique. It's a reason we call it Genesis 1. And why we went about that, how we went about it, why. And we're just super excited, and we're super excited for Clockwork Conversations as a media company, because this is our media outlet. So we get to do both. We get to talk about the love we have. We get to share this story, this adventure with you, but that we're still currently on. So even though these are pre-recorded, edited, and posted for you guys, you could just know that we are on this journey together. We will be located on Instagram. So this is how new this is, by the way. We haven't even created the Instagram for this yet. So we're working on that. Like the YouTube channel is going to go up, so you'll probably be watching this right there on the YouTube channel, unless you're listening, of course, on
Spotify.
On Spotify, or on other locations we post this at. So yeah, this is fresh out the water. Again, this is totally different approach for us. This instead of going the whole put up a lot of money and market this route, we want to just do this journey. And we're okay with the outcome of this, however this goes, because we know whoever's going to buy this watch was a part of this journey with us, and that means more to us than just selling millions of these watches. It's
well, we want to be rich. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, really, we do want to be rich.
We be rich.
This is part of marketing. We lie to you. No, I'm kidding. No, not at all. Listen, if we could do a Richard Mill and get rich off of $1 million watches, boy, I'm telling you, we made it. But
that's not possible.
Yeah. Big shout out to Richard Mill, man. What he did with his company, unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, this journey means a lot to us, and I think for us, this is the fun part about it, and we can't wait for the end result of this journey and just to see. We're hoping, of course, to have meetings where we're at the end of the watch, and maybe some of you who are following this journey will be able to make it to New York City when we first showcase this watch.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right?
Yeah,
we have a little showroom where everybody comes and see the pieces. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I never thought about that. That'd be dope.
Yeah,
really
we spoke about it, but it's we don't even know. Again, this is fresh. This is just off the top of the dome. We're thinking a lot of stuff. We hope to meet some of you guys who appreciate this journey with us, and yeah, man, it's just exciting right now is what I'm trying to say. And I'm very excited to have started this channel. And me and Wallace are very excited to have this journey. I can't say that enough. I keep saying this word exciting too much.
Because we've been talking about this for a long time. Yeah, super long time. And we finally had the time to put this together. Shout out to the many people who behind the scene are supporting us.
Yeah.
Right now we're in this vacant apartment somewhere in New York, but thank you for everybody who supported us, support the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. The people who are helping make this a reality for us, who have given us a place and a time to do this, and to a big shout out to our Chinese partners over there in China who work so closely with us, and who have taken our designs, have offered us feedback, and who are just really great watchmakers and watchmen who don't get enough credit for what they do. We're happy to have you as part of this team. And we're happy to have all you guys watching. We're happy to have you guys on board. We hope you subscribe. Please subscribe. Please like this channel. If anything, that will support us tremendously. It will give us the encouragement and courage to continue with this journey in this world of micro brands of watchmaking. I don't know if we'll make any money off of this on YouTube, but we didn't come here for that. We already have that set aside. So we just want to really be a part of this world now. And Wallace and I are just happy to be here and to be a part of it. Shout out to all those YouTubers who've been doing this for so long. Shout out to those micro brands who really worked hard to put out their pieces and to create their companies. We're happy to highlight you guys as well. Is there anything else?
Nope, there's nothing else, man. I mean, I think Manny really said a lot that I think I can't cover. But I would just say this, though, also, this is not just a platform for us to build a brand. Yes, that is one of the reasons why we do it, but also to educate some of the consumers. So anyone who wants to start a watch brand, you can also come to this page and we'll definitely discuss. And if you have questions, you can email us. I think we'll drop all the email info there and we can answer your questions. I'm not saying that, I don't say we, you can edit all that out, but I would say we're willing to give you free information without charge.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want to know our manufacturer, I don't mind giving you that information. It's cool. Yeah. So I think because there's a lot that, that goes into finding the right manufacturer,
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to talk about that in the second episode. But there's a lot that goes behind finding a right manufacturing, somebody you can trust, knowing that they can give you great quality. So we're definitely here to help. And also we bring people on the show that own businesses that are probably outside of watches, and they probably deal with manufacturing in China, and they'll drop you some knowledge. So it's a platform where for anyone who's an entrepreneur, who's building things from the bottom up and who are working with overseas manufacturers, a place where you can learn, and also the challenges that's working with the manufacturers and different things you might not know before you go into this. So yeah, it's definitely a place where we're giving free knowledge, free game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're excited about. That's why I said we're not looking to make anything off of this. Where this media channel is more like to highlight people who are doing great work, to highlight micro brands in the watch world who are doing great work. But like Wallace said too, we did have that conversation. Like, we know entrepreneurs in other fields, and so that's why we named it Clockwork Conversations. Even though it's about watches, it's just about that hustle, that work people are putting in to be successful in their life, to bring products to the market for people, to make their lives a little bit easier and better, and just that entrepreneurship, to really just what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but
it's okay.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So is that it?
That's it.
Stay
tuned for the next episode.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us for episode 1.
That's a lot that we said in episode 1, though.
Yeah, we said a lot in episode 1 because we didn't plan this out. We sat here, we spoke briefly about what we were going to do, but we thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 1. We hope this gave you introduction to me, Manny, and Wallace, and that you'll join us for episode 2 and into the future. Please like, share, subscribe, share, and get other people to subscribe. Put us out there on the map. Follow us on our Instagram that we haven't created yet, but will be out by the time this gets out. It'll be down in the description below with all the other information, how to reach out to us, how to connect with us through email and other channels. And we'll see you guys all in episode 2.
Peace.